The motion light in our basement turned on at exactly 2:17 every night. At first, I thought it was a malfunction. Old wiring, dust, maybe a mouse. But the problem was the timing. It was never random. Always 2:17. Always one single click. The dull hum of electricity, and the light bleeding through the gap beneath the basement door. My parents noticed it too, but they never went down there. They told me to ignore it. They told me the basement wasn't meant to be checked at night. That alone should have scared me. But what really got to me was the way they said it. Calm, rehearsed, like they'd practiced those words before. The basement had always been unfinished. Concrete walls, exposed beams, one narrow staircase, and a single motion sensor installed years ago after someone tried to break into the house. The sensor was aimed at the bottom of the stairs, meaning if it turned on, something had to be standing there. I started staying awake to watch it. Every night I sat in the dark hallway, staring at the thin line of light under the door. When it turned on, I felt it before I saw it, like pressure in my chest. The light never moved. No shadows, no footsteps, just on. Then, after exactly 40 seconds, it turned off. I checked the logs on the sensor system. No recorded movement, no trigger events. According to the system, the light was never on. On the 5th night, I decided to go down. I don't know why. Curiosity doesn't fully explain it. It felt more like something expected me to. I waited until the light turned on, then opened the basement door. The stairs were lit, empty, silent. I went down slowly, counting steps. The air was colder near the bottom, damp, wrong. The light above me flickered once, then steadied. I stood exactly where the sensor should have been triggered. Nothing happened. No click. No response. I waved my hand in front of it. Still nothing. That's when I noticed the second light. There was another motion light, deeper in the basement, near the storage area. One I didn't remember installing. It turned on by itself. I froze. The light revealed stacked boxes, old furniture, and a narrow space between the shelves that led to the far wall. I felt watched, not from the darkness, but from the lit area itself, like the light was a signal, not a response. I took a step forward. The light didn't change. No sensor click, no delay. It stayed on, steady, patient. At the far wall, behind a row of shelves, I found fresh footprints in the dust, bare feet, child-sized, leading toward the wall. I followed them until they stopped abruptly, right where the concrete met the foundation. No door, no opening, just wall. Behind me, the light went out. The basement fell into darkness so complete I couldn't see my own hands. Then I heard breathing. Not close, above me, on the stairs. Slow, controlled, familiar. I didn't move. I didn't turn around. The breathing stopped. Then right next to my ear, a voice whispered my name. Perfectly calm, perfectly clear, like it had practiced saying it. The light snapped on all at once. Every motion light in the basement activated simultaneously. The space was empty. No footprints. No shelves out of place. Nothing. I ran upstairs. My parents were awake, sitting at the kitchen table, lights on, coffee untouched. They looked at me like they'd been waiting. My father asked if the basement light turned on again. I said yes. My mother closed her eyes. Then she said, "It didn't come upstairs this time." That was the moment I understood the rule. The light wasn't detecting movement, it was counting, and every night it turned on, something got closer. The motion light outside our house was never supposed to face the woods. My father installed it years ago to watch the driveway, cars, people, animals, that kind of thing. But sometime after my parents divorced and my mother and I were left alone in the house, the light shifted. Not physically. It still pointed at the driveway. But every night, it turned on facing the trees. The woods began about 20 feet from the edge of our yard, dense and unlit, swallowing sound. The first time the light turned on, I thought it was a deer. The second time, I thought it was broken. The third night, I realized it was happening on purpose, always just after midnight, always for less than a minute. My mother never looked. She would close the curtains and tell me to stay away from the windows. She said if the light turned on, we were to pretend it hadn't. That rule only made sense after I broke it. I watched from the upstairs bedroom, peeking through the blinds. The light cast a wide cone across the grass, stopping right at the tree line. Nothing moved, no branches, no animals, just light and stillness. Then I noticed something worse. The light didn't turn off when nothing was there. It turned off when something stepped back. On the fourth night, I grabbed my phone and went outside. I don't know why I did it. I think part of me needed to prove that my fear had a shape. The night air was cold and smelled like wet leaves. The motion light was already on when I stepped into the yard, buzzing softly above me. I walked toward the trees. Each step felt wrong, like I was crossing an invisible boundary. The grass near the woods was flattened, pressed down in a wide oval, like something had been standing there for a long time. I called out, my voice thin and stupid in the dark. Nothing answered. Then the light behind me turned off. I was standing in complete darkness. I turned back toward the house and saw a second light turn on. Inside, upstairs, in my bedroom. Something had triggered the motion sensor in my room. I ran. By the time I got inside, the house was silent. The bedroom light was off. The sensor log showed no activity. My mother was standing in the hallway, pale, shaking. She asked if I went outside. When I said yes, she started crying. That night, she finally told me the truth. The light wasn't meant to scare things away. It was meant to let us know where it was, because it couldn't come inside unless we saw it first. We moved out a week later. The house is empty now, but sometimes when I drive past at night, I see the motion light turn on, and I know it's still watching the woods, waiting for someone else to look back. The motion light inside my apartment wasn't connected to anything. At least that's what the landlord told me. It was installed in the hallway outside the bathroom, facing the bedroom door, supposedly to save electricity. It turned on when someone walked past it. That was the problem. It started turning on when no one was moving. The first night it happened, I was lying in bed scrolling on my phone. The hallway light clicked on, bright and sudden. I froze, listening. No footsteps, no sound at all. After about 30 seconds, it turned off. I checked the hallway. Nothing. The second night, It happened again. Same time, 1:34 a.m. I started tracking it. Same pattern, same duration. I tested the sensor during the day. It worked perfectly. At night, it ignored movement. I could walk right past it and it wouldn't react. But when I lay still in bed, it turned on by itself. That's when I realized the angle was wrong. The sensor wasn't watching the hallway. It was angled slightly toward my bedroom doorway, toward the space just inside the room. I taped over the sensor lens before going to sleep. At 1:34 a.m., the light still turned on. The bulb hummed softly, bleeding light under the door. I sat up, heart pounding. Then I heard it. A slow inhale, right outside my door. The light turned off. I didn't sleep. In the morning, I removed the tape. Underneath it, pressed into the plastic casing of the sensor, were fingerprints. From the inside, facing outward, as if something had been standing in my bedroom, watching the hallway, waiting for the light to tell it when I was awake.